What's up, everybody? This is Tech G back with another video to help you successfully pass the CompTIA A+ 1201 certification exam. So let's get into it. Printers, they are like the one friend who's mostly reliable but always acts up at the worst possible time. So whether you're about to print a resume before a job interview or prepping handouts for a big meeting, your printer always seems to know when to misbehave. And if you're preparing for the CompTIA A+ 1201 exam, or if you're just the unofficial tech person at your job or home, then knowing how to troubleshoot common printer issues is essential. So with that being said, let's go. Before diving into specific issues, let's always check the essentials when it comes to printer issues. First, you want to check to make sure that your printer is turned on. Is it connected to power and the computer or the network? Is there paper in a tray? Are there any blinking lights or error messages on the display? Has it been recently updated or restarted? And the reason why I'm saying this is because you'd be surprised how often the problem is something that simple. Now, let's go ahead and tackle these specific issues that you might see in the real world or on your A+ exam. All right, so let's talk about lines down the printed page. So if you've ever seen long vertical or horizontal streaks running down the page, well, that's usually a telltale sign of one or two things. And some of the possible causes are you got dirty print heads or rollers, you got damaged or low toner cartridge, or these are drum unit issues in laser printers. So how do you fix these? Well, you want to run the printer's built-in cleaning cycle, and this can be found in the settings or maintenance. You want to inspect and clean the print heads manually if you're dealing with an inkjet printer, and you want to replace the toner or drum if the cleaning doesn't solve the issue. Now, as a tip for the exam, you want to know the difference between issues caused by the toner cartridge and the drum. The toner, that holds the powder, and the drum, that transfers the image. Next issue is garbled print. So your document printed, but it looks like a page of alien language or binary garbage. So what is the actual cause here? Well, it could be an incorrect or outdated print driver. It could be a corrupted print job, or it could be the wrong printer language setting, like using PCL versus PostScript. Well, how do you fix this? Well, you want to update or reinstall the correct printer driver. You want to delete the print job from the queue and try again. And you also want to double check printer language settings in the driver or the control panel. Now, as this information relates to you taking the exam, the problem will often appear with the phrase corrupted or incompatible driver in this scenario to let you know that you're possibly dealing with garbled print. Next, we have paper jams. Yes, the infamous paper jam. And this is the #1 reason people threaten to throw their printer out the window. So what are the common causes? Well, it could be paper misalignment or loading too much paper, torn or low quality paper, debris inside of the rollers or worn out feed rollers. How do you fix this? Well, you want to gently remove jam paper from all access points and never yank it out. You want to inspect the rollers for debris or damage. You want to use good quality paper and do not overfill the trays. And you want to replace rollers if they're visibly worn. Now, as a real world tip, you always want to power off the printer before removing jam paper to avoid any type of mechanical damage. Next, you have faded prints. And this is when your printed text looks like it's running out of ink, but the ink cartridge appears to be full. So what's the issue? Well, it could be due to low toner or ink density settings. You can have dried up ink if you're dealing with an inkjet printer. Your toner might not be fusing properly if you're dealing with a laser printer, or you might have print head alignment or clogging issues. How do you fix this? Well, you want to check and adjust your print density in the printer settings. You want to clean or replace the print heads. You want to try a new toner or ink cartridge if the problem persists. And for laser printers, you want to check the fuser unit. Now, as an exam tip, fading across the entire page, this might be fuser related, while random faded areas are usually due to toner issues. Another issue is the paper is not feeding. So you hit print and nothing happens. The paper just sits there looking at you all smug. So what are the possible problems? Well, it could be due to worn out, dusty feed rollers, improperly loaded paper, incorrect paper type selected, or a paper tray misalignment. So how do you fix this? Well, you want to clean the feed rollers with a lint-free cloth. You want to reload the paper and make sure it's properly aligned. And you want to check your printer settings for paper type and tray selection. Now, as a tip, if paper feeds only after nudging it, then the rollers are likely worn out and they need to be replaced. Another issue is the multi-page misfeed. So you asked for one page and the printer sent out 3. Great. Now you're wasting paper. So what can cause this? Well, the paper is too thin or sticky. You got pages that are stuck together due to humidity. You got faulty or worn separation pads, or you got feed rollers pulling multiple sheets. So how do you fix it? Well, you want to use proper paper and try to fan it before you load it up in there. And you want to replace your separation pads or rollers if the misfeed continues. Now, as an exam tip, the phrase feeds multiple pages at once, this usually points to a faulty separation pad. Another issue is multiple prints that are pending in the queue. So you sent one job to the printer and nothing prints, then suddenly everything you ever printed shows up in one burst. So what's causing that? Well, you got a frozen print queue, your printer's offline, your spooler service has crashed, or there are network delays. So how do you fix this? Well, you want to open up the print queue and cancel unnecessary jobs. You want to restart the print spooler service, and you can do that in Windows by going to your services.msc, looking for print spooler, and then hit the restart button. You can also reboot the printer and the computer, and then you can clear and reset the queue if it's stuck. Now, as a real world tip, you want to create a desktop shortcut to services.msc for quick access to the spooler. Another issue is speckling on printed pages. And this is where you're seeing tiny dots or toner flakes all over your prints. That's called speckling. So what causes that? Well, you got toner leakage inside of the printer. You got a defective or overfilled cartridge, or you have a contaminated drum or transfer roller. So how do you fix it? Well, you want to remove and gently shake the toner cartridge. You want to clean inside the printer with a soft cloth while it's powered off. And you want to replace any defective cartridges. Now, as an exam tip, laser printers, they are more likely to show speckling than inkjets. So keep that in mind. Another issue is double or echo images. So this is when it looks like a ghost image has been printed slightly behind the original one. Well, that is a classic double print issue. And what causes this? This could be a fuser unit not heating evenly or holding the toner properly, or it could be a transfer roller or a drum problem. So how do you fix it? Well, you want to replace the fuser unit, you want to inspect or replace the imaging drum, and you want to run printer diagnostics if available. Now, as a side note, user-related issues, they often show symptoms like ghosting or smearing. So if you see something in your test talking about that, know that we're probably dealing with a ghosting issue. Then there's grinding noises. Now, printers, they should make noises, but not the ones that sound like they're chewing on metal. So what can cause this? Well, this could be jammed paper or debris in the gears. This could be worn out gear mechanisms, roller alignment issues, or foreign objects inside the printer. So how do you fix this? Well, you want to power down and open up the printer. Carefully remove any visible debris, and if the noise persists, then the technician may need to replace some internal gears. It was a real-world tip. Do not ignore the grinding because it can cause long-term mechanical damage. Another issue is finishing issues as it relates to staple jams and hole punch problems. So if your printer has a finisher like a stapler or a hole punch, it can bring in its own headaches. When it comes to staple jams, you can run into issues like the staples are stuck mid-operation, you have a jammed stapler cartridge, or you have a misaligned finishing tray. When it comes to hole punch problems, you can have issues like the punch is not activating, debris is clogging the punch, or you can have misconfigured job settings. How do you fix this? Well, you want to check the stapler cartridge and reload it. You want to clear out any jammed staples or paper bits. And you want to clean the hole punch and ensure it's enabled in print settings. Now, as a tip, you always want to check the finisher separately because it's usually a modular add-on with its own maintenance needs. Then there's the issue of incorrect page orientation. So you print it in portrait and your printer gives you landscape, or worse, it prints it upside down. So what causes this? Well, incorrect orientation settings in the print dialog box can cause this issue, or you can have application level print settings that override the system defaults, or you can have mismatched driver settings. So how you fix it? You want to check your page setup in the program you're printing from. You want to double check your driver settings, and you want to do a test print with the print preview enabled. So as an exam tip, orientation issues, these are software level problems. They are not hardware related. Then there's the issue of your tray not being recognized. So you loaded tray 2 and the printer insists that it's empty or does not exist. So what causes this? Well, it could be a tray misalignment, a damaged tray sensor, or a driver not configured to recognize additional trays. So how do you fix it? Well, you want to reseat the tray and check the alignment. You want to inspect tray connectors or metal contact points, and you want to update or reinstall the driver and reconfigure the tray options. Now, as an exam hint, this option often appears in managed printers with multiple trays that are used in enterprise environments. You also have connectivity issues. So you hit print and the printer might as well be on Mars because nothing is happening. Now, what can cause these types of issues? Well, you can have a USB cable that is unplugged. Your Wi-Fi printer could be disconnected from the network. The printer might not be appearing on the same subnet. You can have an IP address conflict or change. Or you can have a Bluetooth printer that is not paired. So how do you fix it? You want to check your cables and Wi-Fi status. You want to ping the printer's IP address. You want to use ipconfig and ARP-A to troubleshoot local network issues. And you want to repair the Bluetooth if using wireless direct printing. And as a real world reminder, you always want to reserve IP addresses for network printers via DHCP to avoid any future headaches. And then we have the issue of a frozen print queue. So sometimes the print queue just stops. There's no error, there's no message, it's just stuck. So what can cause this? Well, this could be a corrupted print job. You can have your print spooler service crash, or there could be too many jobs in the queue. So how do you fix it? You want to open the print queue, cancel all jobs, restart the print spooler service, delete any temporary spool files, and then restart the printer and computer. Now, as a bonus tip, you can create a batch script to automate cleaning the print queue. And this is great for those of you who are help desk technicians. All right, so we've gone through all of that. So let me go ahead and wrap this up for you. So here's the deal. Printers might be frustrating, but they are not mystical creatures. Most of their problems boil down to a few repeat offenders. You're dealing with outdated drivers, dirty components, misfeeds, and software misconfigurations. So if you're studying for the CompTIA A+ 1201 exam, you need to know how to identify and troubleshoot these issues because that is key. But more importantly, understanding why the problem happens, this can give you the confidence when facing real-world printer drama. And with that being said, let's do some check on learning. So a user complains that their printed pages have long vertical streaks running down them. What is the most likely cause? Is this due to incorrect page orientation, worn or dirty drums or print heads, paper tray misalignments, or outdated print drivers? And the correct answer is worn or dirty drum or print heads. So vertical streaks on printed pages are typically caused by issues with the drum in a laser printer or dirty or clogged print heads and inkjet printers. And these components are responsible for transferring the image onto the paper. And when they are dirty or defective, they can leave visible lines or streaks. Next question. A network printer suddenly stopped printing. The jobs are stuck in the print queue. You try restarting the computer, but nothing happens. What should you do next? Should you delete all pending print jobs and restart the print spooler service? Should you replace the toner cartridge? Should you print a test page from the application? Or should you adjust the page orientation settings? You're going to want to delete all the pending print jobs and restart the print spooler service. So a stuck or frozen print queue is often resolved by clearing out the jobs and restarting the print spooler service, which manages print jobs and windows, and replacing the toner or adjusting the settings. This will not resolve a spooler level issue. And our final question is, which of the following would most likely fix an issue where multiple sheets of paper feed through a printer at the same time? Would you need to replace the ink cartridge, adjust the paper orientation in the print dialog box, replace the separation pad or clean the feed rollers, or run a nozzle check utility? And you're going to want to replace the separation pad or clean the feed rollers. So when a printer pulls multiple sheets at once, it's often because the separation pad is worn or the feed rollers are dirty, and these components are responsible for pulling one sheet at a time from the tray. Replacing or cleaning them, this will typically solve the problem.